The Galactic Tribunal had branded Erindra a criminal the moment she refused to surrender the human child. Dragons were not meant to raise humans. The Council of Apex Species had made that clear across 1,000 star systems. Humans were classified as a Tier 3 sentient species, clever enough to be dangerous, primitive enough to be controlled. They were to be monitored, contained, and above all, never allowed to bond with species possessing ancient power. But Erindra had found Kale Rowan floating in a escape pod amid the wreckage of a colony ship, and something in the infant's defiant cry had stirred memories of her own hatchling days. She had taken him, hidden him, raised him in the volcanic rifts of Pyro 7, where no hunting party dared to venture. 15 cycles later, they came anyway. Kale crouched behind obsidian formations, watching the hunters descend through crimson skies. Their ships were sleek predators of chrome and plasma, Vrexian warcraft designed to kill things that shouldn't die. He counted 12 vessels, more than enough to end Erindra. "You should run." Erindra's voice rumbled through the stone, each word carrying heat. The great dragon lay coiled around the mountain's heart, her scales reflecting firelight like molten rubies. "They come for me, not you. I won't leave you." Kale's hands trembled, but not from fear. From rage, Erindra's golden eyes softened. "Little spark, you've grown into such a bright flame. But this is not your fight. You made it my fight the day you saved me." The first plasma bolt struck the mountain's face. Rock exploded into superheated shrapnel. The hunters had begun their assault. Commander Zithris led the hunting party personally. The Vrexian warlord had built his reputation on impossible kills. A leviathan of the deep void, a Chronos serpent, even a star phoenix. But a dragon who corrupted a human child with notions of grandeur? That would be his masterpiece. "Flush them out," he commanded. "Kill the dragon. Retrieve the human for re-education." Energy weapons carved valleys into the mountainside. Erindra roared, and the sound shook atoms. She burst from stone in an eruption of scales and fury, her wings blotting out the sun. Fire poured from her maw, not mere combustion, but stellar fire. The same fusion that powered suns. 2 ships evaporated. Their pilots didn't even have time to scream, but the Vrexians had come prepared. Containment nets woven from dark matter spread wide, snaring Erindra's wings. She crashed into the plateau, crushing stone beneath her bulk. Suppression fields activated, dampening her internal furnace. The great dragon's fire guttered and died. Zithris descended, his exosuit gleaming. How disappointing. The legendary Erindra, brought low by technology. "Your kind are relics." Erindra's laugh was a volcanic rumble. "I am not the one you should fear, Hunter. The human child." Zithris scoffed. "Tier 3 species. What could it possibly?" The roar that split the air was not draconic. It was something new. Something that had never existed before. Kale stood on the ridge, and he was burning, not with fire, with something deeper. Erindra had taught him the secret that terrified the Council. Humans weren't Tier 3 because they were weak. They were Tier 3 because they were evolving too fast to classify. Adaptable, relentless, capable of bonding with any species, learning any skill, surviving any hell. And when you raised a human among dragons, they learned to become something extraordinary. Kyle opened his mouth and roared. The sound carried Erindra's teachings, resonance frequencies that shattered molecular bonds, harmonic vibrations that bypassed shields and armor. It was dragon song filtered through human ingenuity, transformed into a weapon no species had anticipated. 3 more ships fell from the sky, their hulls torn apart by sonic fury. The hunters turned their weapons on Kyle. Plasma bolts screamed toward him. But Erindra had taught him more than sound. She had taught him fire. Real fire. The fire that lived in stars, in the heart of creation itself. Kale caught the plasma with his bare hands and compressed it. Human hands, human will, human stubbornness refusing to acknowledge impossible. The energy folded inward, reformed, and exploded outward as a solar flare that consumed half the hunting party. Zithris staggered backward. "Impossible. Humans can't do a lot of things," Kyle said, walking through the flames that didn't burn him anymore. "Until they do." He placed his hand on the dark matter net binding Erindra. The containment field was designed to hold star-class entities. Unbreakable. Except humans had a talent for breaking unbreakable things. Kale understood the net now. He could feel its quantum structure, see the mathematical elegance of its bonds. Irindra had taught him to think like a dragon, to see energy not as abstract force but as living sculpture. He found the net's fundamental frequency and sang a counter-harmony. The bindings unraveled like mist. Irindra rose, fire reigniting in her core. "Well done, my little spark. You've become an inferno." Together they turned toward the remaining hunters. Commander Zithris retreated to his flagship, hands shaking on the controls. This was supposed to be a simple extermination. A rogue dragon and a corrupted human child. But what he'd witnessed, the human had learned. In 15 cycles, it had absorbed knowledge that took most species millennia to acquire. And more than that, it had improvised, adapted, combined dragon teachings with human innovation to create something entirely new. "Retreat," Zithris ordered. "Full withdrawal." But Kale's voice echoed across open channels. "Tell the Council something. Tell them humans don't need to be contained anymore. We've learned from every species that tried to limit us, and now we know what we're capable of." Irindra's voice joined his. A harmony of human determination and draconic power. "The child has spoken." Hear him roar. The hunting party fled. Word spread across the galactic tribunal. The human raised by dragons was no Tier 3 specimen. Classifications meant nothing when a species could evolve in a single generation. On Pyro 7, Kale stood beside Irindra and watched the stars. His guardian, his teacher, his mother in all ways that mattered. "What now?" he asked. Irindra's laugh was warm magma. "Now, little spark. We show the galaxy what happens when humanity stops being afraid of its own potential. They hunted the dragon who raised you, but you showed them something far more terrifying. What's that? That humans don't roar like dragons." Her eyes gleamed with pride. "They roar like themselves, and that roar will reshape the stars." Kyle smiled and let fire dance between his fingers. Dragon fire learned through human will. The galaxy would learn to listen or learn to fear. Either way, they would never contain humanity again.